Chapter 11 of Tanya, and we continue our series based on the cycle of the study of Tanya during the year, the 19th of Kislev to the 18th of Kislev. So now we're delving into chapter 11, which follows chapter 10, which explained that if the godly soul becomes victorious over the worldly soul, how it looks like, and the person is called a tzaddik, and we said different levels of tzaddik that can exist. Now we talk about the other side. What happens if the worldly soul is successful over the godly soul? So then we also have the same thing. We have Rasha v'tovla, Rasha that has good, and Rasha v'rala, Rasha that has bad. And it said this refers to the same concept. That someone could be sinful. As we said before in Tanya, that even if you do one sin, you're called a sinner. You've turned against God. You've allowed the other side against God to take control of yourself even for a moment. So he says, so the different layers of Rasha v'tova, Rasha that still has good in him, meaning the godly soul still has strength, and therefore the worldly soul may win at some times, at the highest level, and may win at some times, and make a person do not very big sins, but things that are on the edge of sin, like not exactly evil gossip, but something that's close to evil gossip, or not learning fully when you're supposed to learn. Things that are at the edge of sin, they're considered sin, but they're edge of sin, and your worldly soul wins over the body at that time. But very quickly you regret, because the godly soul comes back to power. So most of the time the godly soul is in control, but the worldly soul does get control at times. That's the highest level of Rasha, and it's still good for him. But then it can go down further, where all of a sudden you have many major sins that you're doing, and and it's more often. So the worldly soul is winning, but even then you still regret often. When you do teshuvah, you repent, you're regretting all the time, because the godly soul is still felt within you, and therefore makes you regret what you did wrong. Those are still with Rasha and a good. It's good for him. They're still good in him. But then there's the Rasha Rao, Rasha that it's bad. It's all bad. What does it mean? That you do sins and you're a serial sinner and you never regret and you think it's all good and well. Your godly soul is totally hidden from you. And that is unfortunately a situation that can happen. That something unusual wakes you up to repent or to regret. That's when the worldly soul has taken you over and has won the battle. But even there, the Alter Rebbe finishes off and says, wherever 10 Jews are, even sinners, God rests. Because the good that's within you, even though at this point it's not anymore internally, you felt within you, but it still hovers around you. And at any point it could be awakened. But the Rasha, someone who sins serially and doesn't regret, it fell down to the level of a raloi, that this bad has taken him over and he has no sensitivity, or she has no sensitivity anymore to anything godly, etc. This concludes chapter 11. To see all our other videos, go to our YouTube channel, Chabad TMR.